Welcome to Vice President Membership Club Officer Training presented by Marion Taylor. I'm your moderator, Jeff Hebert, District 45 Program Quality Director for 2017 to 2018. This webinar is provided to our members to help you serve your club as Vice President Membership. This webinar covers basic skills and responsibilities that you will use in your role. In the next few months, our district will have Toastmasters Leadership Institute, where you will learn more about your role and how to apply these skills. Today, we will review your role and we will have Q&A throughout. Each club is unique, so some of the Vice President membership responsibilities may actually be performed by different members in your club. As Vice President membership, you are ultimately responsible for making sure that the work is done. Our trainer today is Marion Taylor, Distinguished Toastmaster. Marion is Area 19 Director in Division C, which covers much of New Brunswick, Canada. Marion is a member of 4 clubs in New Brunswick, and she has filled all club officer roles. Marion, please tell us all about Vice President membership role.
Thank you, Jeff, and good day to everyone. I want to welcome you to the Vice President Membership Training, and as Jeff stated, my name is Marion Taylor. I have done this role more than once in more than one club, and this is the role I really love to do. If you like working directly with people, you will enjoy this role as well. Feel free to ask questions as the training is progressing, or make a note of your question and you can ask it at the end. Today, we are going to learn about the 3 R's of membership. Sorry, I forgot to do this. The 3 R's of membership are role, responsibility, and resources. As with all executive officer positions, we need to understand what our role is, what our responsibilities are, and what resources we have available to us. Today, we're going to discuss all 3 of these points. These are the objectives of this session. We'll describe your role, your responsibilities, and as usual, Toastmasters has a plethora of resources to help anyone, and never forget, you have the other club members, the other executives, your area directors, division directors, and of course, district. You always have district to help you, and if all else fails, TI has it, Toastmasters International. So your role is to promote the club and manage the process of bringing in guests and transforming them into members. By initiating contact with guests, we make them feel welcome. Remember the old adage that said there's no second chance to make a first impression? Well, that is very true. We really only have one shot at this. So smile, greet them warmly at the door, introduce yourself, wear your Toastmaster badge or a name tag, have them fill out a name tag, have them sign the guest book, and provide them with the information they need to understand what Toastmasters is all about. Guest packets are a wonderful way of doing this, whether you buy them from Toastmasters International or put them together yourself. But make sure that every guest has contact names, numbers, email address. As part of your role, you help to maintain the influx of new members into your club. Did you know that you also actively monitor membership levels and strategize with the rest of the executive committee about how to overcome challenges? Your role, though, first and foremost, is to recruit new members. Toastmasters keeps telling us that a happy, healthy club is a minimum of 20 members. Always be shooting for that number. But don't forget, after that number has been reached, continue to bring in new members. New members makes a quality club. New people, new ideas. But don't forget your existing members. They need to be appreciated. Work with the VP of Education. Know the goals of the current membership. Help these current members to achieve their goals. And all members, new and existing, are always important to your club. You have three parts. There's the club meeting, outside the club meeting, and the executive meeting. Now, this doesn't mean you're working 24/7, but there are a few things that you need to do as the VP of membership because you are the third ranking club officer. And in that role, you are responsible for planning, organizing, and directing programs that ensures individual member retention, but also growth in the club membership. The Vice President of Membership chairs the membership committee, serves as one of the club's representatives on the area council. And this is before you ever get to the meeting. But don't be frightened. It's not as bad as it sounds. You have specific roles before the meeting, during and after. Please make sure to be prepared for every instance that could possibly happen. And by the way, that takes experience to be able to anticipate certain instances that could happen. But be prepared, basically, is the advice here. Welcome the guests and existing members. Smile. A cheery hello goes a long way to setting the mood for fun and enjoyment. Don't arrive at the last moment. Come a bit early to the meeting so that you can have everything you need prepared. If someone has joined your club since the last meeting, you should have their names and contact information with you. You need to contact the president. Toastmasters advises that new members be voted in before they're inducted. So if you have new members since the last meeting, contact the president, schedule a vote to vote that member in, if your club does that, and then schedule an induction meeting as soon as possible. The guest packets, as you can see, are item 387. Many clubs make their own guest packets. Go to Walmart and buy the bifolding folders and set them up themselves. But make sure you have a lot of information in there about Toastmasters and who to contact and what Toastmasters is all about. Don't forget your former members and guests. Have everyone sign a guest book if they're new, and then you can contact them again to ask them if they're coming back to another meeting. Don't forget about former guests. Don't overpower them with emails, but once a month, say, hey, we haven't seen you for a while. Are you still interested in coming back? We're still at the same location, same time, and tell them the date and gently persuade and encourage them to come to meetings. Greet all members and guests. Your existing members are important, the same as your new members are. Provide the guests with the guest packets. Be prepared for questions. Be prepared with information about Toastmasters. Many people do not know what Toastmasters is, and this is a great opportunity for you to answer any of their questions. And after the meeting, be prepared to stay for a little bit. Don't rush home when you have guests in the room. That seems very unfriendly to someone who has just attended your meeting. And once the meeting is over, they will have questions. There is no doubt about it. But after the meeting, especially if you can share a coffee or a tea with them. Invite them to join the club. Invite them to come to another meeting if they're hesitant to join. And this is very common that a guest says, oh, well, I don't know. Come back to another meeting. We're having another meeting, and give them the date and the time, and make sure that you inform them that this is still the place, or if there is another place, make sure they know where to go. Nothing is any more confusing than getting to a meeting and it's not there.
Hi, Marion.
Yes.
Melinda asks if you could give an example of a time when you, as the VPM, had a good experience with a guest. You were kind of giving us some scenarios. Can you describe an actual encounter that you had?
Yes, I had a member, a guest who did join, quiz me to the nth degree, wanted to know fees, wanted to know what they were going to get out of this. And we talked for a good 20 minutes after the meeting. They hadn't read any of the information I had given them, but then they explained what their position was or their situation was, and that they had nerves and they had to speak in front of their coworkers or managers and needed that confidence. One lady felt that she was so nervous when she got to the front of the room and was speaking that it was actually holding her back in her job. And after she joined Toastmasters, she got a promotion not too long after she joined Toastmasters. Now, she had almost finished her competent communicator, so she had been there a while, but she had gained that much confidence that her supervisor saw it and actually promoted her. So this was a big win for this member, and it made us, the club, and me, the VP of membership, that enticed her to join, that it was really worth it. So you can get promotions if you develop more confidence, if you learn how to speak clearer, cut out your crutch words. When you look like you are having fun speaking, then the rest of the club, and especially guests, will see that and enjoy learning how to do that. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, that's great. I think this is actually Melinda is saying this is a good story to share with new members or guests that would be potential new members. So it's a very good story, and it's exactly the kind of stuff we're looking for. So great.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for the participants? Maybe ask them to type in some things that are.
Does anyone have any such stories to share?
Well, I'm thinking something brief. We don't want long chats, but
I can't actually see that, Jeff.
Oh, you can't see the chat box? Okay.
No.
You have it hidden?
My presentation is
That's okay.
Covering the.
Okay, fellow participants, we've been talking a little bit about how your club works. What are some of the key aspects of your role? What do you need to do from what you've gathered from Marion so far? So someone says, make sure you have a greeter.
You have Linda. A what, sorry?
Linda says, make sure you have a greeter.
Oh, greeter.
Yeah, a greeter. A greeter. And Melinda says, always have guest packets. That's important. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Actually, that's one of the first questions, even as the president of one of my clubs, when I found out we had the possibility of one and perhaps two guests coming, the first thing I did was email the Sergeant at Arms and the VP of Education, said, do we have enough guest packets? Let me know. I'll make them up.
That's a good plan, to make sure you have guest packets, especially if you know folks are coming. And also when you have visitors, Linda Rumney says, make sure that you have someone that sits with them, whether that's the VPM or a designated buddy, I suppose. That may depend on how many guests that you have.
Try
Talia
to always-
suggests forming relationships with the members or with the guests. I think that makes sense, right? Our organization is all about one-on-one communication, as
It
well
is.
as communication across from one to many. See,
If you have, especially,
hold on.
sorry, if you have more than one guest, make sure you have an experienced Toastmaster sitting beside them. Don't
That's
have all of your guests in one spot.
That's important. Yeah, it's good to have them spread out and to make sure that you have an experienced member working with them. At least someone that is the VP membership you've kind of primed. Let's see. Stacy says to make sure you make time for them before and after the meeting. And that's exactly what you were saying. That helps them feel comfortable.
Go early and stay late.
Yep. And Melinda says take the time the guests need to break out at the end or answer questions. Oh yeah, and encourage them to come back.
Yes.
Yep.
Don't overpower them. Don't overpower them. Let them speak with you. Can say, I hope you enjoyed the meeting. You can talk with them, but don't hold them in the room. If they say, well, thank you, I'll go home and think about it. And then you just say, make sure you take your guest packet and there's a membership form in there and information about our club, and let us know in a few days what you think.
Okay.
Then they're anxious to get out because they're a little nervous. That gives them the out, but it also gives them a little bit of a task, and you've asked them to get back to you, and most of them will.
Okay, we have a few more comments and then we can get back to your presentation. Let's see, Carolyn says that she has people sit with the guest, and I think that makes perfect sense. I know I tried to sit next to guests, at least one guest when we have multiple guests. Let's see, Melinda says one of her clubs assigns existing members to introduce the guests. Ooh, that's kind of a neat idea. So they would kind of make friends with that guest and then introduce them at the start of the meeting. Let's see.
That is a good idea.
Yep, Linda says, oh, she loves that idea. I think that's a neat idea, but she's afraid that she would get pushed into introducing herself. Okay. All right. Very, very good. Thanks for the ideas, folks. And Marion, let's kind of continue on with your presentation.
Okay, so this was after the meetings. Make sure the guest goes home with a smile on their face and a guest packet. So outside of the club, you as the VP of membership are responsible for new membership building programs, and Toastmasters actually has 3 official membership campaigns. And in the fall, it's Smedley, and in the early spring, it's Talk Up Toastmasters. But does anyone remember what the last one of the year is called? Did anybody type anything, Jeff?
Yes, The Last Chance. No, that's not it. That's what I typed.
Beat the Clock.
Linda Rumney and Melinda say beat the clock. Yes, beat the clock.
That is the last one, and that is titled that way because you're trying to get your membership up, because it's getting close to the end of the Toastmaster fiscal year. But you assist guests as well. You collect and manage the paperwork in the application process. Organize and participate in a membership committee. Many VP of memberships don't actually have what is called a membership committee. And for me, this is a valuable tool because, as I've been told many times, no one person can know everything all the time. You need input. You need help from your club, from your other executives. And if you have a membership committee that is dedicated to helping the club build their membership, they have the ideas. They're there to follow up with you on where these people are going and if they're actually coming back. Make sure you answer emails and phone calls, other inquiries from prospective members, because your job is to recruit new members. You lead the club's efforts to constantly increase the membership. Now, if a club has less than 20 members, you may want to say, I want to get to 20 members by the end of the year or sooner. If your club has 20 members, you may set a goal for the club to recruit a new member each month. Then your membership is constantly building. New members bring in new ideas, new ways of doing things, new views that perhaps the existing members hadn't thought of. New members are a lot of fun because they have a different view of maybe what you've fallen into a pattern of doing. They have something different, and it's very interesting what new members think of what is going on in your club, and often they have valuable information. But make sure you always have the membership applications. In the clubs that I belong to, we put one of those in every guest packet, but I carry some in my portfolio that I take to every meeting. I have spares, and more than once in a meeting where I wasn't the VP of membership, someone said, oh, this guy wants to join and I don't have a membership form. Out they come. Said I was a girl guide. I'm always trying to be prepared. The VP of membership needs to work closely with the VP of education to know what the goals of the existing members are. But I like also working with the VP of public relations, because public relations is advertising your club. You want membership to be advertised. You want your club's name to be out there. People need to know who you are and where you are. And that is something that a VP of membership, if they work closely with the VP of public relations, they can achieve their goals. All of my clubs have an executive meeting once a month. I don't know if other clubs have it more often, but it's an executive meeting.
Hey, Marion, before you move on
Yes.
to the executive meeting, Talia has a question about how do you do that PR work if you've lost your VP PR?
Well, that can be challenging. In fact, one of my clubs right now, the VP of public relations has had to step down because he's just too busy at work. So the other members are, until we get a new one elected, other members have actually stepped in and produced newsletters. They've advertised on the local radio station. And I personally put a notice in a local newspaper that the newspaper is produced twice a week, and once a week it's what's going on in our community, and that's free. So our Toastmasters Club is in there and where it is, but anybody can print off flyers and put their name on, the name of the club, and post them anywhere.
Well, Marion,
so that's what we've been doing, Talia.
I think you actually were about to answer the question with your description of how the VPPR works with the executive board at executive meetings, because frankly, if you don't have a VP PR, that's where the executive board and the president should help find solutions, just like all the solutions you described.
Yes, and the rest of your executive can certainly help and maybe fill in for the public relations until you can get one elected. But try to hold a formal election. Try to advertise that this position is open and make sure all of your members know what's involved, because VPPR is a lot of fun too. If you have a Facebook and you're a member of the club or you're a member of the executive, ask someone to go out and update your Facebook. There's always social media, and you don't actually have to be the VP of PR to update things like that. That can be done by anyone. Does that help tell you?
Yeah, that's great. Let's move on to your next topic.
Okay. Okay. So the next topic is, as VP of membership, you are the third ranking officer, and you can attend and vote at area council. One great thing about a club working together is you should be training the next person. You should be recruiting the next person to fill your role and training them, giving them advice, because you had already asked the previous VP to help you. So help the new one coming in. Always try to keep a replacement in mind. Sometimes you have to persuade them a little and kind of maybe push them a little. The very first time I ever did vice president of public relations, I was really worried because I had never attempted that particular one before. But once I got into it, it was great fun. And I loved doing the newsletters, producing them, having committees to help me. So VP of membership, use your committee, establish a committee. And by the way, if you establish a committee, you can actually run that as a high performance leadership, because you need to plan things, you need to put them on a calendar with end dates and responsibilities of other people. So even preparing your successor for office, you could be having that on part of your high performance leadership. Then you've killed two birds with one stone. So do the contests. You need to do a report at the executive meeting on how many members we have, how many guests we've had come in, how many possible new members we can have, may be having in our club. You should always have an executive report to give to your executive committee of your club. The president will often ask if you have a report. So be prepared. That's another one of the things that you need to be prepared for. But you don't have to run all of this yourself. You can actually have other members do contests, but you are in charge of them. So if you have someone else do a contest for membership, make sure they're reporting back to you so that you can report back to the president. So now, the how, when, who, what. This I find intimidates a fair amount of people because it looks like a lot to do. But if you break it down, especially if you start a high performance leadership, you can ask people to help you. They can be part of your committee. You don't have to carry the entire responsibility. Many heads make for great ideas. But make sure when you make a list of what you plan to do, have an action plan. When is it going to be completed? By whom? Who can help you? And materials and resources. Toastmasters has so many materials and resources free. But then reach out to your area. Your area director may be able to help you, and if not, then this person could go up to division and then of course on to district and on to Toastmasters International. I find that Toastmasters International are very, very helpful, and they will bend over backwards to try to provide to you whatever you are asking for or about. Use your resources. Use a committee. This takes a lot of the onus off of you, and you're getting feedback from these people. You're getting ideas that maybe never occurred to you. Try it. You might like it. Then there's the checklist. As I just mentioned, the resources available from Toastmasters International are amazing. But you need to reach out and ask. My advice is make sure you go to the TLIs, the Toastmaster Learning Institute. The networking that you have there it lasts for years. You meet people from other areas, other clubs, and you have a very interesting interactive day with these people. There is a lot to read, so go home, sit back, take your shoes off, make a tea or a coffee or even a glass of wine and sit back and read the materials. Take some time and just simply sit back and read. There's a lot of information. I usually have to read it more than once before it fully sinks in, but a little sinks in at a time. So every time I pick up documents and read them, I learn something from them. And as I said before, you can train your successor, because if you worked with the outgoing committee, then you want to work with the new incoming committee and meet with, of course, the current executive committee. It's a collaborative affair. Toastmasters is a family. As far as I'm concerned, it is my extended family. And everyone out there is willing and able to help you meet your objectives. So your committee, here you go. You can conduct member surveys on moments of truth. This is a wonderful presentation that talks about commitment to your club and greeting members and keeping members. And the materials, if you need to order them, are really not that costly, but Moments of Truth is a free download, the same as this was a free download. And I like the idea of the power of three. You've got three members serving on your committee. You would make the fourth, but Toastmasters does seem to like the power of three. So consider these 4 bullets if you want to get information, get help. This is where you would get it. This is the additional resources. These are available on Toastmasters International. Some of them have costs. It depends on what your club wants to do. I must say that Speechcraft, which is the bottom one on this list, is an amazing way to bring in members. I know of a club in Fredericton who holds a Speechcraft every fall and again in the early year. They are just completing one now. In fact, Friday was the last session, and they've already recruited from this last session. They've recruited 1 new member, and they're expecting 2 others. It is an amazing project to start and work on, and it teaches the people who join the Speechcraft what Toastmasters is all about and how to write speeches and how to present them and how to evaluate them, because you're holding meetings. Basically, you're holding meetings. Speechcraft is a wonderful workshop to do. Now, not that the rest aren't, but a Speechcraft is something that I would promote 100%.
Hi, Marion. Speechcraft is a little bit beyond typical club and VP membership activities. So how does this fit in with a typical VP membership? Is this something that the VP membership would propose the club support? Is this something that a VP membership would go off and do on his or her own? And damn the club, I'm going to make this happen. Sorry.
Actually, there is in 2 of my clubs, the 2 that are closest together, I have already purchased Speechcraft, and we are working with the local community college, and I'm going to have the 2 clubs do the Speechcraft. Now, one of the clubs is a corporate, so it's closed, and one of the club is community, so it's open. But we need people to put the meetings on, to give speeches, to evaluate, to show the public what it is like. And I'm not doing that as the VP of membership, but I'm sure the VP of membership will be, from each club, will be at Speechcraft to help promote it, because it is an excellent way to bring in new members. And where we have a closed club and an open club, then we can advertise everywhere and have people who work for the company come, and as well as people who don't work for that company.
Okay, so
So yeah, we use it
the
as
speech,
a membership
the speech,
building.
oh, sorry, Marion. Speechcraft
Yeah,
is not part of your normal club activities, but it's something that
no,
you use to help bring in new members.
yes. But you can, if you want to have special meetings, you can use Speechcraft, or if you can extend your meeting by a half an hour, you can actually do a Speechcraft in the last half hour of your meeting. It depends on your organization or your members and what they're willing to do.
Yeah, my understanding of Speechcraft is it's an accelerated program to go through the first 3 speeches and kind of with a small group. Is that a fair summary to someone who's never done it before?
I thought it was 3 speeches too, Jeff, but I think it's actually can be as many as 6.
Right.
My whole understanding of Speechcraft is you get experienced Toastmasters to lead the first meeting, where you explain what this is all about, where to get your speech ideas, how to write your speech. They see speeches being presented, they see table topics, they see timers, they see evaluators, and
Okay.
then you schedule your meetings perhaps every 2 weeks.
Yeah, let's bring,
Then
I'm
they
sorry,
go
Marion,
home and write
I
it.
didn't mean to get you off track. I'd like to bring this back around towards
Yeah.
VP membership. The question really is about how does a Speechcraft fit in with the role of a VP membership? It seems to me that it's completely separate from the normal club activities.
But it's a membership building campaign.
Okay. Okay, a way to bring in new members. How many times have you done Speechcraft, and how many members have you gotten out of it?
I personally have not done it yet. This is going to be a new experience, but I know the
Okay.
club in Fredericton is doing well by bringing in new members from Speechcraft.
Right. I've heard that clubs that do Speechcraft once a year rarely have membership problems.
Problems, that's right.
Frankly, I don't know whether that's because of the Speechcraft or because of the members are on fire or some of both, but it's a good, I think it is a good tool. I've been involved with Speechcraft, so I know. I'm just trying to help bring this around to our VP memberships for their experience.
Yes, I'm told if you want to do if you want to do a good program to build membership, do a Speechcraft.
Okay. Well, let's open it up for questions. If you guys have any questions for Marion, or if we want to have any discussion, you can unmute yourself. I think at this point I'll try and moderate and make sure that we don't have too many people talking over each other. So any specific questions?
Marion, it's Carolyn Power calling.
Yes.
I enjoyed your presentation. Jeff, I enjoy your comments as well. I'm a newbie. I won't be a year old until January next year. And I've enjoyed every minute of it because I want to become eventually a public speaker. Okay. I'd like to throw this idea out because I'd like the feedback from everyone. I am VP membership for Sackville in Halifax. And when I go and speak with people about Toastmasters and how it is building relationships and confidence and the whole 9 yards, it comes back to me as, well, that may be fine, but the ultimate goal is public speaking. We're not interested. Somehow or other, we have to change that perspective a little bit, because they shut down when they hear the name and they equate it to public speaking.
Yes, you'll have to try to work a little more leadership into that,
Okay.
because this is also leadership. And leadership is often why people get promoted in their jobs. It's not just their speaking skills, it's their confidence in leadership and stepping forward and not being afraid to put out ideas and not being afraid to lead committees. So bring that forth with leadership.
Okay.
The other thing I'd like to mention, Carolyn, is that I think mentioning, talking about leadership and talking about everything that Toastmasters has to offer, that's all you can do. Some people are not in a place where they're ready to join Toastmasters. Our job is not to go out and convince people to join Toastmasters. Our job is partly to help folks recognize the value. And if they're at a spot where it will benefit them, get them to join. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is don't be too dissuaded with folks that say they don't want to join because they don't want the communication skills. If they don't need it, they don't think they need it, that's okay. But you can challenge them to come and visit a meeting or two and see for themselves.
One thing that you can also do, Carolyn, this is Sharon Joseph, you can say, when I first joined Toastmasters, I thought it was all about public speaking too, but what I found was the more I became involved, the more I realized it was actually about leadership.
Okay, sounds great.
So agree with them and say, I initially thought the same thing, but as I learned more and more about the program and became a Toastmaster, got involved, it was actually about the leadership.
Yes, and something that I also did, Carolyn, when I am retired now, but when I was working on my personal key performance indicators, I put on what I planned on doing in Toastmasters. And of course, I achieved it. This is something I really wanted to do. So my manager had that, and that went up to our director, and that went up to the CIO. So it's all about leadership and communication. And as Linda Rumney had put on there a few minutes ago about the values, the benefits and values of Toastmasters, there is a flyer that's free. I've downloaded it. I always make sure it's in the guest packets when I hand them out. But it's all about the values and the 100 reasons why to join Toastmasters. Have you ever seen that one?
No, I haven't.
Someone created it. It wasn't me, and I don't believe it was Toastmasters, but it was 100 reasons to join Toastmasters. And I put that in the new member kit too, by the way, the guest packet.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, Linda put the link to the features and benefits page. So just look in your chat box, you should be able to download it from there.
Okay, great, I see it. Thank you.
What I'll do is I will find my document of the 100 best reasons, the 100 reasons to join, and send it to Jeff, and perhaps Jeff can send it out to other people.
That sounds like a good thing for us to put on our website.
Yes.
Well, folks, I have just published a link for a survey. Whoops, actually, I'm going to send that to everyone. So if you'd like credit for this, or if you're watching this after the recording, or if you're watching the recording not live, wherever you found the link to this video session, you should also find a link to the Google form where you can actually give a survey, give some feedback to Linda. I'm sorry, to Marion. sorry, Marion. You can give some feedback to Marion, and you can also, if you add your email address, it's voluntary, but if you add your email address, you'll be on my list of favorite club officers, those who've participated in our online training. So do we have any last questions for Marion?
Actually, if nobody else does, I do. Not Marion, but both of you.
As long as it's about VP membership.
It is, and it's about opportunity.
Okay.
What it is I've been speaking with a couple of people in the medical profession here, and it spawned because of a gentleman who joined our club, and he was a stroke and heart victim. His GP recommended that he go to Toastmasters for speech, not as therapy. He goes to speech therapy, but to build his confidence and to help him work with his speech flow, and he runs his own business, but he's developing and slowly getting his confidence back, and he's not overwhelmed by it. So my thought was to help all Toastmasters groups is, Jeff, to see if we could put something together in a program proposal to audiology and speech and heart and stroke.
I'd love it.
Offer.
That is exactly the kind of, what do we call them? High performance leadership kind of projects that we love to sponsor. What we can do, that's a bit, again, that's beyond the scope of a VP membership, but it is a fantastic role. And if you send me an email, I'll get you in contact with our club growth director, because he helps sponsor programs like that.
Okay. Should I get more information about it first?
Nope. Or why don't you just go ahead and contact us, and then we will work with you and get the ball rolling.
Okay, because I really would like to be a part of it.
I think that would be a very cool, a very good thing to do.
Great.
Actually, my doctor promotes membership in Toastmasters for people who have anxiety problems.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He claims, and he tells his patients that are suffering from anxiety to go join Toastmasters, because it'll give them the confidence that they'll learn how to overcome their anxieties.
Yep.
That's a general practitioner.
Those are exactly the reasons why we've joined, and why those are things that we can use, those testimonials we can use to help help members or potential new members see the values of Toastmasters. Yes. Well, I'd like to close out this session. Sorry for the frog in my throat. So thank you, everyone, for attending our club officer training. This is a vital step to help you in supporting your club. And as Marion mentioned, there are many resources to help you in your journey. These webinars are one resource, the Toastmasters Leadership Institute, which will be coming up in the next month, or the next several months. The district has recently put out a Moments of Truth survey. Marion had mentioned that as a powerful tool. We're doing it at a kind of a higher level, Moments of Truth, just to give you a little sense of the kind of insight you can get from a Moments of Truth. I personally hate that phrase, Moments of Truth, but it is very powerful. The program is pretty powerful and is meaningful. Anyways, there's a lot of resources. Please use those resources to help your club achieve excellence. So thank you, Marion, and everyone is saying thank you very much for making this happen.
Jeff, if I can just jump in and have the VPs of membership, please ask your members to complete the survey that you sent out.